Well, this move comes at a pretty interesting time on a day where Paul Warlow injures up his knee. The Eagles are reportedly releasing Mychal Kendricks. This is according to Adam Schefter of ESPN. So 6 years with the Birds, Kendricks gets outright released. I'm kind of surprised that the Birds were unable to work a trade with him. So I'm curious, was this one of those things where Kendricks kind of came to management and was like, all right, I want out of here since I don't really fit the scheme as well as maybe other schemes, and maybe I won't be seeing the snaps that I want to see because it sounds like the team is kind of high on Corey Nelson. And if you look at what Jim Schwartz's scheme kind of is, he doesn't want his linebackers to blitz. Well, that's what Kendricks' specialty is, using his speed and quickness, getting through the A-gap. Those A-gap blitzes, that's what Kendricks is known for. Not as great in coverage. So if you remember last year, he got off to such a hot start because Schwartz was playing up to his tendencies and playing to his strengths. So using him on a lot of blitzes, letting him range sideline to sideline, not really playing him a lot in coverage. It was not until Jordan Hicks got hurt that we kind of saw Kendricks' flaws come to the surface, and some of those coverage flaws and some of the things that Kendricks is not so great at. So the move saves $4.4 million in cap space. I am surprised, though. I'm surprised that they didn't want to keep him around as a depth piece, especially now with Warlow's injury. With that being said, though, the Eagles do use a base defense with it's a dime defense. Their dime is their base, or nickel is their base, I should say. And they only use two linebackers at a time. So Kendricks probably was not going to start again, and he would have been unhappy with his playing time because he would have been, the same kind of deal as last year. Now, with that being said, again, it's like you have Jordan Hicks in here, a guy who's always hurt, and it's like, yeah. So if Hicks gets hurt again and you're without Kendricks, yeah, Corey Nelson will have to step up and be that guy. But if you have Hicks down, you don't have Kendricks, and now with Warlow gone, I mean, where's the depth at? And that goes back to the draft. And while I was kind of surprised why the Eagles didn't go with a linebacker in one of the first 4 rounds, I would have thought that they would have gone after like a Malik Jefferson or a Josie Jewell, somebody along those lines that would have helped the Eagles out. So that's where we stand right now. Kendricks is gone. This saves, again, $4.4 million in cap space. I know the Eagles were cutting it really close with the cap. I believe they were over, but it was like only a couple $100,000 over the cap allotment. So the other thing about this move, it shows that the Eagles have a lot of faith in Corey Nelson, the free agent linebacker that they brought in from Denver. And this Nelson situation, it kind of reminds me of when Nigel Bradham first came to Philadelphia, kind of an unheralded linebacker who did well with Jim Schwartz, but whenever Jim Schwartz wasn't there in Buffalo, he kind of struggled. So you get a guy in here, Corey Nelson, not really known to a lot of people here in Philadelphia, but if I have watched some of his tape with Denver, and I think he's underrated. I think he's a pretty solid linebacker. So this speaks highly of what they think of Nelson if they have the confidence to flat out release Kendricks coming off a season where he had a really good year. So Kendricks had his ups, he had his downs here, 6 years in Philadelphia, and he is gone today. So let me see if I can find the comments real quick. I'm sure a lot of you guys are probably surprised, as I am, about the move and why they would make it at this time. So let's see. Let me check those bad boys out. I'll answer a few questions. So what do you guys got? A lot of why questions. I mean, bro, watch the film. He's better than Hicks. All right, I kind of explained that already. So Jim Schwartz catered to Kendricks' strengths. early on in the season, right? He doesn't really fit the scheme as well as some of the other linebackers. He's not great in coverage. So if you're telling me to watch the film of him later in the year when he was asked to cover and he wasn't able to cover some of the tight ends. Kendricks is an A-gap blitzer. That's what he is. And this is a scheme where you're not asked to blitz a lot as a linebacker. So I think that there's a combination here of the Eagles kind of realized he didn't fit his skill set didn't really fit the scheme as well as they would like. And I think Kendricks also complained, knowing that the writing was on the wall, that he was going to be basically in a backup role again, and he didn't want to be that. So I think it's a combination of the two. I think that the Eagles tried to shop him, and I guess nobody wanted him. I'm surprised about that. I'm surprised that the Eagles were unable to pluck a late-round pick for him. So there you go. Tells me they like Nelson. They're just taking all their linebackers to the woodshed. Worlow done also. Yep. Sean and I talked about that. Oh. Can't wait to see what day 2 of the OTAs brings. I was going to make a video on the OTAs today and how overrated they are and how us as fans always overvalue it. You think Eagles would get Navarro Bowman? I do not. Let's see. Yeah, the other thing that's interesting is this is like reportedly, they will reportedly release Mychal Kendricks. So it hasn't technically happened yet. So I wonder if they could actually work out a trade for him before they actually do release him. I wonder if that would happen. Now the other thing is if they release him after June 1st, they actually save an extra $1.5 million. So that's the other reason why I'm like, why would they do this now? I would wait until June 1st when you get $6 million in savings instead of $4.4 million. So who can we sign in free agency? That'll be something that I could look at. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of why didn't they trade him? I'm sure they tried. They've been trying to trade him for like 2 to 3 off seasons, and I guess they just weren't able to work anything out. So here we go with the nickel base thing again. What's wrong with the nickel base thing? It worked last year. They won a Super Bowl. Most teams are going as nickel with their base defense, since a lot of teams use 3 wide receivers out on the field. So the Eagles were in nickel over 50% of the time, and obviously it works for them. Joe Walker, a happy man today. Oh man, this seems odd. I feel like Howie has something up his sleeves. I have a theory that I think Kendricks came to management and just kind of like, not that he forced his way out, but I've seen the Eagles this offseason, really treat some of their players, obviously with Foles getting extra money and what they did with Stefan Wisniewski, giving him that bonus. They've been really catering to their players this offseason and listening to them and doing kind of what they've been requesting. So it seems very odd that they would flat out release Kendricks. So I think Kendricks in some way, I will find out more information I'm sure on this in the next couple of days, but I'm sure Kendricks might have went to management and was like, all right, if I'm going to be in this nickel defense and Bradham and Hicks are going to be your starters, I want out. I think that could have happened. Is this going to be after June 1st? I would hope so, because they would get extra money. They would save $6 million instead of $4.4 million. What if Hicks gets injured again? They clearly have a lot of confidence in Corey Nelson. I don't think, you know, even if Kendricks did go to management, was like, you know, I want out. I don't think they would make this move if they didn't think highly of Corey Nelson. I think they tried to trade him. I think they tried. I just don't think anybody was willing to give up something for him. You know, Kendricks is a player that certainly has his flaws, and the Eagles did such a good job of hiding them last year. That's why he excelled. Because when, again, it's like the second half of the year when he was asked to play more and Jordan Hicks got hurt, those flaws got exposed, and he wasn't as good. Coverage, man. He stinks in coverage. And he's always been a guy who's been always up and down. Teams are scared of getting fleeced by Howie, hence no trade. I don't think that's the case. I don't think teams would be scared of trading a late round pick for Mychal Kendricks. Yeah, they'll pick up another linebacker. You like Leighton Vander Esch for the Cowboys? I did a film study on him earlier, and I like Leighton Vander Esch. There's no way with that cap and only playing 30% of the snaps they were going to keep him. I thought he was going to get traded at the draft. That's what I thought was going to happen. You think Eagles are going to re-sign Ellerbe now? That's definitely an option, considering the fact that they brought him in late last season and he knows the playbook. I'm not surprised because they have been trying to trade him for like 3 years. Kendricks is really good when it comes to blitzing, though. And, yeah, it goes back to that. He's an A-gap blitzer that really doesn't fit what this defense likes to do because Jim Schwartz doesn't ask his linebackers to blitz. Yeah, that's what it is, Reed Embiid. I'm not surprised. It's just when it happened, especially on a day today where Paul Warlow got hurt. So, yeah, Kendricks was best at blitzing, and that's something that we don't do a lot. All right. So there you go. That's the news on Mychal Kendricks. He has been released, as we all know. So there we go. All right. I prefer the $6 million that Kendricks. Oh, I don't know if you didn't finish your thought there, Marcos. Are you trying to say you prefer that they release him after June 1st so that you get the $6 million? By the way, this has not happened yet, because if I read Adam Schefter correctly, they will reportedly release. So they will release, meaning it hasn't happened yet. It's in the future. Gotcha, Marcos. All right. That's it for this one. I'm going to end it. I'm going to see if I can find where the hell to end it. Here we go. All right, so I'm Adrian Fedkiw. I am out of here, and yeah, if you guys got any video ideas for me, it's a little slow at the moment for the bird. So if you guys want something, I'll do something. So there you go. Maybe I'll do. You know what? This actually hits the light bulb. I think I should probably do a Corey Nelson film study. I think that's where we should be going next, because there's going to be a lot of attention on Corey Nelson now with Mychal Kendricks' departure. I'm out of here. Take care.